Please proceed to the hotline. Congratulations to all the curlers who made it to the quarterfinals. And on Deep Bravo is Saskatchewan versus Ontario. On Team Saturday, Manitoba versus Alberta. On Delta, Saskatchewan versus Quebec. And on Echo, Manitoba versus Ontario. Good luck and good service.
Welcome to the 2018 Travelers Curling Club Championship here at the Miramichi Curling Club. Darren McEwen alongside Dodie Dickinson. We're inside here for men's quarterfinal action. And Dodie, it should be a great game. We have Andrew Wickman out of the Fort Rouge in Winnipeg, who rhymed off 5 straight wins in the round robin before running into Nova Scotia in the last game and dropping that one 7-4. They've had a really great week here this week.
They certainly have, Darren. They've played very, very well. And that last game when they played Nova Scotia was at 4-1 and Manitoba's undefeated. But that winner of that game ended up getting first due to the head-to-head competition rules.
So Kurt Roach out of Nova Scotia is back at the hotel waiting the winner of the other men's quarterfinal game. But Ontario, they had an up and down route to get here, but that last game winning over Newfoundland and Labrador, very convincing 12-1, meant that they secured their playoff spot, and the team out of the Cornwall Curling Centre is here for their first Travelers quarterfinal appearance. Opening rock just thrown there by Lee Charles Wirt out of Cornwall and puts it right on the button to start.
Right on the Travelers umbrella.
We get our first look this morning at the lead for Manitoba, Cam Barth. These two teams, watching, especially Manitoba, has played with a lot of rocks in play throughout the week, so not surprising to see at a important game like this that they're going to try and retain hammer into the second end, or at least try to get the blank.
Yeah, for sure. I think they'll just go up and down the sheet the first end just to get a feel for the ice. And
so 14 teams from across the country on both the men's and women's side here, and it's been narrowed down to 6. We have women's quarterfinals out there this morning as well. We'll keep you updated. So we have Saskatchewan women who pulled off a tie-breaking win this morning. They're taking on Ontario, and we also have Manitoba. And it's good to see Deb McCreener is back. She was out under the weather the last 2 round-robin games, but came back this morning and won the tiebreaker for Manitoba in the skip position. And they're taking on Alberta's Morgan Muse. And then, of course, in the other men's quarterfinal, it's Saskatchewan taking on Quebec. But back to our game, and Cam Barth asked to throw another out-turn hit. It rolls just to the side, 8 foot.
Cam Barth did a guest appearance on the live streaming for I guess for about an hour, and really enjoyed his commentary.
Yeah, it's good to have the insight of the players, and Cam's been a lot of fun this week, and he was also replaced in that game by his brother Scott, who did another double duty in replacing Brent Baschuk on this team, who is suffering a bit of an injury, but good to see Brent back in the lineup for this Manitoba team this morning.
The Manitoba have quite a contingent of fans here too, Darren.
Yeah.
A lot of them have traveled to the Miramichi in support of their two teams.
And John King there from Ontario with the hit and roll to the edge of the 12-foot. And this is Brent Baschuk in the hack now for Manitoba. This rink out of the Fort Rouge were in 2 years ago. They were in Kelowna for the Travelers Championship and bowed out at this stage of the tournament. In the quarterfinals, they lost. Pretty disappointed, but good to see them back. They have a slight lineup change from that team, but their player that was on that team actually got picked up and moved to Thunder Bay, Ontario, and was picked up by the Northern Ontario team at this year's event as the alternate.
So it's kind of a reunion of types, yeah. Well, they have experience, I guess, in these quarterfinal games that they played. And what year was that again?
2016.
2016. So yeah,
one of the rules of the Travelers Championship is that you can't come back-to-back years. So we do see a number of teams that are repeat from maybe 2016 or 2015. But if you were here last year, you're not eligible for this year.
Yeah, I think that's a good rule too. Gives everybody else a chance to play in it. And it's a great bonspiel there, and it's a really good idea what the Curling Canada came up with. It's about 10 years now.
Yeah. And I think that rule, especially for some of the smaller provinces and territories where there maybe aren't as many teams, it makes those teams have to step up because they will see different teams here every year. And we have seen, if you look on the women's side, one of the teams that finished tops in the pool was the Northwest Territories women's team. And they're right to the semifinal. That's a place that's never won a national curling championship, and they are 2 wins away from it. So how exciting that'd be
quite a story, wouldn't it? Yeah, very nice.
Well, we're looking at one province here that actually has not won a Travelers Men's Championship, and that is Manitoba. Ontario is seeking its 3rd championship after winning in Kelowna, different rink, but Manitoba men have not won a Travelers Championship, so Andrew Wickman is hoping to change that this week as we look at Jeff Tarko at his first rock of the first end.
That would have been a good trivia question.
We did have trivia here earlier.
Yes,
this week.
It was a very successful night.
Yeah, it was great. It's the organizers here, including yourself and Sean Ingersoll that's led it, have done a great job of hosting a lot of different events. Trivia, we had James Mullinger last night, the comedian. Was a lot of fun. Had the room pretty entertained.
Yeah, he was funny. I
learned a lot about the Maritimes.
Speaking of Maritimes, we're having an unusual weather with all the snow we've had. This is very early for us for snow. We've had it before in November, but actually our first storm was late October, so.
Yeah, we were laughing this morning with the Alberta women as they were walking into the club. I was saying how we should have had cameras as they do in some of the other events where they follow the teams from their shuttle in and cover it because the wind was blowing and the snow was blowing, and it was not a great scene as we walked into the curling club. But the ice conditions have been unaffected by the frigid weather, I should say. It remains very consistent.
Yeah, it's nice and sunny here today, but it's definitely cold.
So Matt Dupuis is going to, without hammer, is going to try and force a hit and stick on Manitoba. But right now it's looking like Manitoba's in a pretty good spot to blank the opening end. Manitoba with hammer in the first.
They're banking a lot of time, Darren, although time has not been much of an issue for these teams all week.
Yeah, 30 minutes for both teams. It is thinking time. And there was 1 or 2 teams that ran into some time difficulty, but nothing too serious, nothing that really impacted games. Dupuis there just clipping and rolling out, so it'll give Wickman a chance to get his draw weight down as he draws to the wing on an out turn.
Yeah, he gets a chance to get a feel for draw weight.
And you curl here, Dodie. What kind of times are we looking at for backline to hog?
Well, backline to hog would probably. Well, actually, we normally here our team we're timing T line to stop, and we anywhere from like 3.80 second, roughly about 25-second ice. It might be 24 right now because there's a lot more curl in the ice with the rocks just recently being sanded. They've been more aggressive.
And this one looks light from Wickman.
Yes, it does so.
The Barth brothers on the brush there, trying to get it past the Tim Hortons Cup and into the Travelers Rings, but this will come up light, it looks like, on his first. So it'll give us a chance for Dupuis and his Cornwall team to put one around the corner guard and maybe get a steal or potentially a force.
A force, yeah.
This Ontario rink just qualified. They're one of the last teams to qualify, both the women's and men's team. Ontario hosts their provincial championships in the fall of the current year. One of the, I guess, 2 member associations that do that. So they haven't had a lot of time to necessarily plan for this, but at the same time, you have to think they're pretty hot coming into this.
Exactly. I think Alberta's the other province.
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the fathers of one of the Alberta Skips, and he said they all qualified last year to go to the provincials this year. So
you see Lichty and King backing off this as it slides to the edge of the Travelers Rings. Looks like it will just hang on. A great shot there for Matt Dupuis to start the first end, and that will result in forcing Wickman to try to get the single point. So mission accomplished for Ontario in the first end.
He should have a good feel for this, Darren. He's just thrown one a little short, so I'm sure he's going to add a little bit to it. And he's pretty quick throwing it.
Yeah. Andrew Wickman, his final stone of the first end, facing one Ontario counter at the back. Sliding pretty good.
It looks pretty good. There's just kind of
clean, and you see Tarko raise his broom there, and that will be a single for Manitoba. They're on the board. So these teams competed in 2 pools. We had Pool A and Pool B. And the top 3 finishers in both the pools ended up in crossover playoffs that we're hosting this afternoon and tomorrow here in Miramichi. So in Pool B, it was BC who went undefeated through the pool, 6-0. Saskatchewan and Ontario finishing in 2nd and 3rd. Corey Kohutch is out here on the sheet beside us from Saskatchewan. He was a 2014 Travelers champion with this similar rink. He went 5-1, so he played off against the crossover winner in the other pool, or I should say the 3rd place winner in the other pool, and that was Team Quebec. And of course, we see Ontario here, the 3rd place finisher in Pool B, playing the 2nd place finisher, Manitoba, from Pool A.
It's very important to finish first, Darren. You get this draw off, and you can get the extra rest.
Yeah, sometimes you hear some teams say it is. I think at this level it probably is an advantage because these are long weeks that not everyone is used to playing. Most of these teams, as teams, play together maybe once, maybe twice a week. They certainly are used to their provincials, but to play this many games in a week, it's probably great to have that rest. At some other levels, at Briars and Scotties, some teams, they don't mind that extra game because it keeps them in a consistent routine. The ice stays relatively, or they stay on top of the ice conditions.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And we have game on here as Dupuis opts to put up the corner guard, and Wickman asking his lead Cam Barth to throw the center guard on his top 4-foot first rock. These teams are playing under the 4-rock rule. The reason for that, as the provincial playdowns for, as we said, most of the teams was last season under the 4-rock rule. So the championship here this week has been 4-rock rule. In years going forward, it will, of course, adopt the 5-rock rule.
So that'll come into effect next year then for the Travelers.
Yeah, correct. See, Barth's rock slips a little bit deep there. Probably edge to edge for...
I think Ontario will be trying to get a little hit and roll in behind their corner guard.
Charles worked the lead for Ontario, playing the out-turn hit and roll. Pretty good result.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's something that Manitoba will probably have to deal with, but they're not. They're going to put a guard on, so.
And if you're watching online this morning, or this afternoon, depending on where you are, I guess we're Atlantic time, so we got some folks that are a little earlier out there. Feel free to tweet at us any questions. Use the hashtag TCCC2018. We have a number of teams that have been using it. Team McLeod from Northwest Territories tweeted this morning that we've grown so much as a team this week. We may have come up short on our goals, but we played some very close games against some of the best teams here. So that the men's team from Northwest Territories. Looks like Manitoba's shot there in the forefoot.
The Team Ontario is going to be playing try that hit and roll again, or even maybe make the double going through.
John King's first stone here of the end. Makes the double. Wow, great shot.
Very nice.
Looks like he spun the shooter. It's pretty close. That's probably you put the biter bar to that one, but cleaned it up a bit and at least has brought the corner guard into as a factor. If it's not in, it's another corner guard that they could use.
Right. Now Team Manitoba is going to try to clean up those corner guards now, Darren.
Brent Baschuk from the Fort Rouge, one of the more storied curling clubs in Canada. When you think about if you can name a curling club in Canada with a lot of history and champions, that would come one of the top to mind would be the Fort Rouge. Connie Laliberty, Kathy Overton Clapham. We had the 2000, I believe it was last year's winner, women's winner from the Fort Rouge for the Travelers was from there, Fort Rouge as well.
You're right, it's a very recognized name in the curling clubs.
They just actually hosted the Canadian Mixed Championship, and interestingly enough, we have Cody Tanaka, who throws last stone for British Columbia, who went undefeated through the round robin here. He represented BC at that, so he's curled 16 games in the last 2 weeks wearing the BC jacket, and I asked him if he's gotten tired of it, and he said absolutely not. He knows he's going to have a 17th later today and an 18th if potentially as a gold medal game. So pretty exciting time for him in his young career, 24.
Yeah, we actually did that game last night and streamed that BC game against Saskatchewan. It was a well-played, lot of great shots made in that game.
Cody is fearless. I saw a couple of his shots, a run-back double he made, and it was risky. Could have given up a steal of 2, played it, and got his single, but he can really throw the up hit weight accurately. Weapon. Jeff Tarko's stone here needs to dig in. It's a little bit strong, and ice probably picking up now in the second end.
Yeah, the ice, the first end, just not heavy, but just it gets about a half second quicker after the first end, and he might have got caught in that.
Terry Lichty throwing his first. This team from the Cornwall Curling Centre and in Ontario. There's of course the Cornwall Curling Club in Prince Edward Island as well, and we have a team from that club as well. The women's PEI team is from the Cornwall Curling Club on the island, and we have the Cornwall Curling Centre in Ontario here. And they're well known the last few years for hosting the Shorty Jenkins Classic there, a stop on the World Curling Tour. They do a great job in Cornwall with that. I'm sure a few people watching. I've seen a couple tweets from them this week of fans with the game on there.
That's interesting. two teams from Cornwall.
Yeah. All sorts of like weird things like that this week where we've had former players playing with different provinces, which you see at the Briar and you see at the Scotties, but you don't usually see at the Travelers. It's just, you know, the timings that are the work commitments in school where people have moved around the country. They're not moving necessarily for the curling at this level. They're moving for jobs and school here. And nice to see reunions of sorts happening. So Dupuis will ask Lichty to put up another corner guard.
Darren, we're not sure that the top one's biting, but
you can see white on the overhead, but sometimes can be a little deceiving.
Exactly.
I would measure it at the importance of this game. A lot of measurements this week, and the good work of our umpires here from Curling Canada, from the East Coast crew.
Yes, they've done a great job. You see them standing out there. They get a little cold at times, but they're used to that now. And
yeah, it is a volunteer position actually, and they give up time to come here, and they love the sport. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's for the love of the sport for sure.
So Andrew Wickman's going to try and remove at least 2 of those stones. He'd like to get rid of the one in the forefoot and not replace it with the one he's running back. Playing the intern at it.
He's got a lot of weight coming in here, Darren. Peel weight.
And he'll at least open it up, but chance now for Ontario to split the house if they choose to. We had a blank end over on sheet 2 in the women's quarterfinal between Saskatchewan and Ontario women. The Ontario women of the Oshawa Curling Club. And it was a big 2-point start for Alberta's Morgan Muse over Manitoba in the other women's quarterfinal. And the sheet neighboring us here on sheet D was blanked, Saskatchewan retaining hammer into the second. So Dupuis will use the center guard, try and come around it.
It'd be interesting if he makes this really good, if Team Manitoba will opt to hit the open one.
And if he puts it slightly behind the umbrella, if they opt to freeze to it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Aggressive call to start, but Dupuis actually won a Canadian police curling championship. That's not a Curling Canada sanctioned event, but it is something he won at second position in 2018. And the sweepers are really leaning on this to get it by the front guard and into the house. A little nudge. Can they get it there?
Yes. Yeah.
Wickman giving the nod to Lichty on the sweep there. Players in good spirits all week. Yeah,
though the teams are always joking with each other. It's kind of nice to see how friendly they are with each other. And that was a really good sweep.
So they'll get Cam Barth on the sweep to roll. So an open hit for Matt Dupuis to score his 2 points. I said the Barth brothers earlier, but that was earlier in the week they were together sweeping.
Okay.
We have Scott Barth is the alternate player for Manitoba, and as we said, he was called in during the television commentating appearance by Cam, and then he was also put in one of their last round-robin games to replace Brent
just to give them a taste of the Travelers.
Yeah.
Really nice of them to do that. This has to curl a little bit.
Tarko's ready for the sweep if this does roll out, but looks like it will hang on.
Hang on.
So 2 points for Ontario. Matt Dupuis on the board with a 2-1 lead.
It was a very nice end by Ontario. They manufacturing that 2-point. So they're allotted 30 minutes for the 8-end game.
Yeah, 30 minutes, 2 timeouts. And thinking time for that. I don't believe neither of these teams have a coach with them or a designated coach. Some of that you are at Travelers now entitled to bring a coach on your own to bring them here. But if you do have a coach, which some of the teams do, they can call the timeout. The alternate can as well. I believe it's just Manitoba on this rink who has an alternate behind the glass. We're on the second floor up here, Dodie and I, and we have the viewing gallery at both levels. It's been very busy here at the Miramichi Curling Club. Yourself, Dodie, and Sean have done a great job.
Well,
the
thank
host
you.
chair of getting great volunteers in here.
Yeah, we have over 100 volunteers here, and it's been a really good show and the city of Miramichi is really appreciative of it.
Yeah, everywhere you go. Gone to a number of restaurants and the hotels, and I don't believe there are many hotels left.
No,
there was someone that was coming up from Nova Scotia women's team who are they advanced to the semifinals, so they had friends that wanted to come up and watch the game tonight and stay over, but they can't get a hotel in Miramichi.
Wow.
I know, though, the Maritime Hospitality, if that got out there, someone would find a bed for for that family tonight to watch the game. So the Manitoba lead rock slipping to the back forefoot, and Charles Wirt is being asked to come down to it, follow it down.
The line looked pretty good here, Darren. The guard's not an issue. It would just be weight.
Dupuis jumps in to help them to get it there. And it's good enough for shots.
Shot rock.
Manitoba will look to stagger this freeze a little bit if he can get across the face of that yellow one. Doesn't want to line up an easy blast for Ontario.
I'm kind of curious. Team Ontario, their third, he's wearing something on his leg.
Yeah, the skip and the third wear that for knee support.
Okay.
I think there had been some injuries there, and so they wear that for knee support when they're sliding. It's similar to what's worn by catchers in baseball.
Okay, I've never seen one before.
Yeah. Two of the players, I think they, if I'm not mistaken, at least one of them had surgery in the knee, and
whatever it takes to keep them in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For Ontario fans that are watching, the women on sheet B picked up a 2-point score in the second end to take a 2-0 lead over Saskatchewan in the women's quarterfinal. And another blank end beside us in Saskatchewan, Quebec men's. And we've got a freeze festival here on sheet E.
We're just waiting for one big high hard one to go down and they all get knocked out of the rings.
The angles are pretty good right now for Ontario.
Yeah, I agree with you, Darren. The angles are very good.
And it looks like Wickman's asking Baschuk to just nudge them around a little bit, make that top yellow one, poke it out a little bit with a bump here.
This looks pretty good there, and he's gonna bump it out into the open as you suggested.
That makes the angles much better now for Manitoba.
The two yellow Ontario rocks are set up for a double, so Ontario's going to have to try to change the angles again.
Only 4 games in action. We've had 6 all week across the sheets here at the Miramichi, but it's still loud out there. I was talking to yesterday and the opening day was the only time where it was men at the same time and women at the same time. And I was talking to some of the women at the hotel last night, and they much prefer that. Some of the men's teams are quite loud out here.
It's a little quieter.
If you're from the West too, you're not maybe as used to not having the boards but between your sheets. So catching rocks can be a new thing for some of these club teams that are used to having the boards between their sheets in Western Canada. So. Ontario sitting the 1 on the side of the button, but Manitoba sitting 2nd and 3rd right now.
He's asked him to remove the guard and try to roll away.
Manitoba had choice of colors in this game, and much to a broadcaster's dismay, they chose red, giving Ontario yellow, and making our life a little more challenging this morning.
Yeah, exactly. We keep looking, don't we?
That's actually pretty good. The angles now are a little scary, I would say, if you're Ontario.
He's going to guard it out, Darren, so...
Pretty decisive call there by Dupuis. Wants it near the L in Travelers.
Yeah, that would be perfect, wouldn't it? The line looks pretty good, Darren. He's going to get a good guard out of it.
Guards the double for sure. You can still get to that top yellow, but I don't think you're going to get both of them out yet.
No, I don't think so, because you can't quite see all that yellow one. That's in the just biting the forefoot. They're calling for the directional sweep, Darren, to get some more curl out of it.
And that will just nudge the top one, and not the result that Manitoba wanted there. It's going to take a lot now for them to score even a single in this end.
Yeah, no, that was unfortunate.
You mentioned the directional sweep there. All the teams at this championship for the last few years have had to abide by the WCF approved pads on their brooms, but you'll still see teams that will subscribe to the directional sweep attempts, but it doesn't do the effect that it necessarily used to, which is a good thing for the sport.
Yes. That's because of the pads. They changed the course. Yeah. Which was a good, really good move on behalf of Curling Canada. And that's worldwide now, too.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
A lot of the club, and this is a club championship, but a lot of curling clubs don't have that rule necessarily in place at their club level. Some leagues, I think, have it. If you're in a more competitive cash league, you might have that rule,
right,
or some variation of it. You know, I think more and more you might see it move to that, just so consistency. The beautiful mustard orange color.
Yeah, they're all the same color. Yeah.
Makes for these teams, it makes getting broom heads easy, and they know what they need to get.
Exactly.
And Tarko will clear out 2 Ontario guards. Better result there on that one for him.
It looks a little better for Manitoba.
It's really now the second shot for Ontario, the second shot rock, that's going to be tough to remove. Of course, the shot rock will be as well, but the way the angles are, and there's a high mid guard there, 2-level guard that's blocking it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's going to be hard to get rid of that one.
If Ontario can guard this end out, I think they might be in position to steal the end.
And the sweeper's backing off a little early on this, but you'll be catching up to it now.
Yeah, the weight seems to be okay, Darren. They're just kind of watching it go in there.
That does the task. It's actually another angle staggered guard there. So you can't even run that back onto anything. It's a great result for you.
Yeah, actually, it's a really good result.
See Jeff Tarko lining up a pool shot from there. Needs to consider looking at running 2 yellow in and opening it up, but
he must be an old pool player in his day.
This team was actually formed in Jeff Tarko's garage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was talking to Andrew earlier in the week, and they made an attempt after watching Manitoba come runners-up in 2015 in Ottawa, friends of theirs on that team, and they wanted to, they couldn't make the commitment at the elite level. They've curled for so long, all 4 of them, and they're good friends, so they decided in his garage shortly after, I guess it was the summer after that championship, where they wanted to make a run at the Travelers the next year, and they made it all the way to Kelowna for the Nationals. As I mentioned earlier, they bowed out in the quarterfinals, so they're looking to improve on that here, but a great group of guys. They flew in, they were supposed to fly into Halifax last week, very early. I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday of last week, and then their plan was that I don't believe any of them had been to the Maritimes. They were going to tour around. They were going to hit all 3 Maritime provinces. However, their flight got diverted from Halifax, I believe, right into Moncton, or excuse me, to Fredericton. So I think it was they took, if I'm not mistaken, a bus from Fredericton to Moncton, and then they went to the island. They may have hit up some places on the island in the few days they were there, a lot of seafood, and then up here to Miramichi. So it turned it into a holiday for the group, which is great. They have the parents here watching them. Their wives weren't able to make it, but they definitely wanted to send a shout out to them as well. As we see, Wickman will gets one of them out, the one that was quite protected there. So
yeah, that was a very good shot.
Great shot by Andrew Wickman.
Yeah.
Not sure if that red one is, looks like from our monitor that the red one is biting on the side there. But
oh yes,
yeah, it looks like
it does there, yes.
But the yellow shot rock is still in a pretty good spot for Ontario. In a pretty good steal position if Dupuis can put up a guard here. Doesn't want to come too far in and set up some sort of double situation.
He's guarding now to protect against the big end.
Needs to curl though. It should though.
That should finish us. Did the job.
Does it? And if there's any run happening now, it's probably going to need to be that red one on the side, which would be the shot of the week if he made it for multiple.
Yes, and he's going to give it an attempt.
And a few things can go right here too. There's no risk involved. They're all reds that are in there. He can come off the back of his top 4-foot one. He can just chip it out. If he even crosses the face of his top 4-foot one, he could make it that way and maybe just score one. So, few options. It's fairly risk-free.
Yeah.
And of course, they'd like to get a score here for Wickman. So his final stone of this third end. Andrew Wickman looking for the run back, angle run back.
It's close.
Might make it the other way, not quite. No.
Seemed like that rock backed up a little bit. I thought he had a bigger piece of the rock.
So big steal for Ontario to go ahead 3-1 in this game after 3 ends of play. We did get scoring on the other men's quarterfinal in sheet D. 2 blank ends to start, and it looks like Saskatchewan stole the point. Nope, Saskatchewan got 1, sorry. So they lead 1-0 over Quebec right now. And the Saskatchewan women are trailing Ontario 2-0 in the women's quarterfinal. And Manitoba's on the board in the other women's quarterfinal. 2-1 lead for Alberta there.
All the games are fairly close there, and we expect them all to stay close to the end.
Wirt throws up the center guard, and Wickman will ask Barth to come around top 4-foot on his first rock of this 4th end. They play 8 ends here at the Travelers Championship, break after 4 ends.
And that's a 5-minute break. Yeah.
Yeah. Had a few extra ends this week, some exciting ones if you're tuned into the women's round-robin game with Prince Edward Island and Ontario yesterday. I think it was afternoon. It was a game for the ages there when Ontario was up 7-1 and PEI came storming back to win the game. I think it was 8-7 and an extra end on a number of crazy shots from both teams. And it was PEI's first win. They went on to also defeat Nova Scotia, and as they call themselves, the girls from PEI became known as the spoilers from PEI.
Yeah, my wife Ann was actually timing that game, and she thought she was going to have an early day.
Cancel the dinner reservation. Yeah. Charles Wirt will try to draw around and freeze to Cam Barth's great draw there. Another great shot.
Very nice shot. These two teams have come to play, Darren.
Mm-hmm. Diving towards the guard here.
It is diving, isn't it?
And this one won't get by, but they'll try and get a little roll off if they can.
I think the weight was pretty close, I think.
Ontario last won this championship in 2016. It was in, as we mentioned, Kelowna, and it was from a team just down the road from where Dupuis and his foursome are from, at the Cataraqui Curling Club in Kingston, which hosted this event last year. And Ontario won this event, the inaugural event, as well for the men's. And as I said, Manitoba has not won this men's Travelers Championship before. They have multiple times on the women's side, but it's been elusive for them on the men's
side.
Freeze there by John King. Some curlers might look at that and think, oh, there's a double there, but there is a long guard, but even still what we call the crotch double is not very easy, because it's going to need to hit it at the exact right spot to not lose your shooter across the top of the one on the right. But get rid of one of them is the objective here, at least for Brent Baschuk. If he can move around a second or even get rid of it, it would be great.
He's by the guard.
Got the top one. And across the top.
And the shooter rolls out.
You can watch the women's Ontario game as well on the other stream. Not that we want you to.
No, leave us. No, exactly. Stay right here.
But if you are interested, there's the second sheet 2 has coverage on Bell Alliance for the Ontario-Saskatchewan women's game. There was another blank in the third end, so it's 2-0 still for Ontario. It's great, this event. You've been able to have 2 sheets of live coverage. Especially as we get into the finals. The men's and women's gold medal game are at the same time, so we'll be able to show both of them at the same time, which is really nice.
And even all week we've been, if the game we're doing, and if it gets over early, we've been going to, in our case, we'd go to D or F if there's a close game, we'd show that one too. So we've shown a lot of curling this week.
Good miss there by John King as he comes a bit wide and finds the uprights.
Uh-oh.
Andrew Wickman with the nice save.
Yes.
I mentioned those Western teams not so used to the
no boards
beside them. Have you played at a rink with the boards?
Yes. Yeah, we used to have boards in the old curling club years and years ago. Yeah. And we took it was an adjustment when we decided with no more boards.
Yeah.
We were just doing what happened here. We forget to chase a rock.
The first time I played in one, I wasn't sure if I liked it, but it is actually really helpful. It's very helpful with mixed doubles, that's for sure. The only thing you can disrupt is your own game, which is good. But we see Jeff Tarko here sweeping this one to make it curl. Situation's a bit better though for Manitoba. At least it's off the 4-foot.
Yeah, that's the key there, is keep that 4-foot accessible to for your skip, so he can make his last shot if they get in trouble. With a very nice in-turn hit and roll. Ontario's keeping the pressure on Manitoba.
Yeah, you can feel the momentum is in Ontario's court right now, but they do have, they are Ontario Stones, but they do have some options to draw down if they need it, to use the keep the play to the side. Still, I guess Vice first stones here. So still some time for Wickman to generate his 2.
The line's really good. They're just not sure about the weight.
Sliding, and Dupuis will...
It's going to slide a little bit.
And that will be second shot. Yeah, you can see Dupuis a little leery to hit that and stay anywhere back there. It'll give a lot of backing for Manitoba, but it looks like he's playing the hit and roll out on this, I think is what he indicated.
Yeah, I actually missed the call there, and I was peeking on another sheet.
Hit and stick there could be a good chance for Manitoba.
Starting to create a wall back there.
You're sweeping just to get it by the, well, it's by the guard, but there's a pretty good pocket now.
Yeah.
How you get there, though, can be tricky because that guard is...
it's in the way.
Yeah, it's on the left side of the center line. No. Take the same route, it looks like. You'll ask Jeff Tarko.
So he's just drawing around the center guard to the 4-foot.
Yeah. The early sweep for Barth and Baschuk.
The line's okay there, and he's by.
Weight looks pretty good, too. I don't think it's as heavy as the previous one. Very well guarded, but it did pop out on the right side, and that's the side you didn't want to leave exposed. And it looks like Dupuis going to freeze to it.
Yeah, a little freeze tap.
Yeah, it was only take that rock and put it 2 feet higher up.
Yeah,
great shot.
It'd be perfect. That cleared that guard by, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, and it poked its nose out the other side, so there is a lot of finish.
This Ontario team with 4 wins in the round robin, having lost just to unbeaten British Columbia and Saskatchewan.
This looks pretty good, Darren.
Really nice shot by Matt Dupuis. He has come to play today.
And he's covered the umbrella too, Darren, so it has to be moved.
Those 2 yellow counters, or 2 yellows on the back 8-foot there at 4 o'clock could still come into play for Manitoba. Could benefit Manitoba if they're ever to get a little hit and roll over there. But that shot that Dupuis just threw is going to be tough to remove that and use those.
You can see a little piece of it though, so
looks like they're just looking to bump it straight back, not
playing something soft weight shot here.
Andrew Wickman's first stone of this 4th end, facing 1 Ontario counter with hammer. Manitoba hoping to score their 2 and even it up before the break.
looking
shot coming in.
Beautiful looking shot coming in here.
So there is the wall that was needed, but Dupuis will probably look to play the intern pick at it. Ontario is second and third. So if he can pick that out, they're even, but gotta, I think you have to watch, well, I guess if you pick it out, you're not going to give up 2.
No. And he can actually, if he ever got enough that red just touch that yellow one behind, he probably would take the other red out also, and both reds would be gone. But I think he'd be happy with the pick for sure.
I don't think he wants to move that yellow at the back of the 4-foot either, because it's preventing Ontario or Manitoba from getting multiples right now.
Yes, exactly.
He'd certainly like to go to the break with a 1-point lead and hammer. Matt Dupuis, his final stone of the 4th end.
Call for the early sweep.
Off and on, but this still needs to curl a little bit. That's good.
It looks pretty good. Manitoba's forced to draw for the 1 point.
He touched that yellow on the way by, but I don't think he touched it enough to move it to be third shot. It's a pretty risky call if you were to come down, though, and try anything in terms of a tap on Shot Rock to get to, but he did move. Dupuis did move the yellow, and I can't tell if it moved to third shot or not. Doesn't look like it. Looks like Ontario is
1 and 2?
Yeah. It's not light.
No, and it's got to curl a little bit.
Supers have backed right off of this. It looks like it's curling in now with the hog line in.
You should be
hold on. And just Ontario or Manitoba will grab their 1 point, and it's a 3-2 game after 4 ends here at the Travelers Curling Club Championship, the men's quarterfinal here at the Miramichi Curling Club. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be back after the 4th end to bring you more action. Welcome back to the coverage of the 2018 Travelers Curling Club Championship at the Miramichi Curling Club. Darren McEwen alongside Dodie Dickinson. We are in the fifth end now with the men's quarterfinal. Manitoba trailing Ontario 3-2. Ontario with last rock as we begin the fifth end. A couple low-scoring games in the other sheets right now. At least two of the other three sheets of low-scoring games. BC and Saskatchewan are locked at 1 point apiece in the men's quarterfinal. And Ontario women have a 2-0 lead on Saskatchewan. Manitoba picked up an important deuce before the break to go to narrow the deficit. 4-3 Alberta leads Manitoba over there. The winner of this game here that we're covering will face off against British Columbia in the men's semifinal. That goes tonight at 6:30 Atlantic. And Dodie, BC has run the table so far.
Yeah, they're 6-0. They're a very impressive team.
Out of the Richmond Curling Club. They would, if they managed to pull it out, they'd be a back-to-back provincial, or back-to-back titles for BC in the men's event, as we had Bart Sawyer won it last year in Kingston for men.
Okay, so they're the defending champions in BC.
They are, and on the women's side, it would be Manitoba rather, looking for 3 in a row on the women's side.
Okay.
But Deb McCrinner has a little bit of work to do over there to get past Alberta to start with.
And that's quite a rivalry between those two provinces over the years. We've had a lot of rocks to play, Darren, but the score is still quite low. Each team, the skip has managed to make their last shot to serve the 1 point.
Yeah, that fourth end, third end too. There was lots of rocks in play, but and it seemed like lots of the same color each time, or opposing color each time.
Yes.
But it was just the 1 or 2 rock difference. Ontario has the rock at the back four there, which Manitoba can get to. They'd love to lock one onto it eventually. You can see Wickman considering dealing with those top ones, but the front end, or the guys at this end talking him into going for it now.
Yeah. This one, they're still working it in there, and just a little short, but it's a rock they can use later on in the end, and I think Ontario realizes that, so they're going to deal with it now.
You can see all the fans on the lower level in that shot there. Behind the players, it's been quite a bit of seating set up for folks to watch downstairs and seating upstairs here at the Miramichi Curling Club. Admission to get in is what, $5 I think per draw. We guys have event passes that were on sale, and we were meeting people here that were working at the hotel restaurant. Never watched curling, and then we saw them here midweek, and they said they wanted to come see it. They'd never seen live curling before, and they came on over to watch it, and were quite impressed by it. What they said was $5. It was such a good. You can't pay that and a lot of other things to get the entertainment that you do here.
The entertainment value is certainly there. Ooh.
Just missed it. Brent Baschuk's long double attempt.
Yeah, we kind of hope here in the Miramichi now that this will help grow our game at our club with all the PR we've been getting all week, and seeing people out I haven't seen for a while coming out to watch. So
a number of small fundraisers leading to big things. You were hosting, I guess it was a lobster draw. I didn't win either of them. There was a couple lobster draws. We're raising hundreds and hundreds of dollars for the junior program here at the Miramichi Curling Club, which is the future of the game.
Yeah, that was a pretty good draw, the 12 bottles of lobster.
Yeah. And a number of other initiatives that will help benefit not just the junior program, but your club in general, and the kitchen, the bar, and others. It's been very busy. Quite a unique curling club here, though, and has it's connected or is part of the is it the city's eco center?
Yes, yeah.
And so it's used all year round, but in off season of curling, it's used as a tourism place.
Exactly, a tourism center, yeah.
Back to our game here in Ontario, sitting the 1. That is the zone that is plugged up right now is the zone you want to control when you have hammer, and that's what, even if you don't, in Manitoba's case, you still want to have access to that. Now this might
catch it.
Not
No,
quite.
Not quite.
That rock has roots there.
Yeah, the members, the membership club, we're quite proud of our curling club. It's and we're really pleased to be able to showcase the 2018 travelers here, showcase our club.
The space you have here to host anything, whether it is curling or it's off-season stuff, or it's incredible for a club in a community this size and a 6-sheeter to have this much space.
Yes.
I appreciated it this week to be able to have my own space to work, and I know that the officials have their own room and the media folks have their own room, and it's really great. You don't see that usually in a 6-sheeter in a community this size. So it's what 12 years old? This building?
Roughly 12, 13 years.
Terry Lichty's rock will come deep. How deep will it go? To the back of the 12-foot. So Manitoba will get a chance now to try and lock one in there. Charco throws with the Manitoba tuck. Doesn't use the corn broom, but does have his broom down to the side. I wonder if he ever did throw with a corn broom. I think with that delivery he probably did at some point.
At some time, yeah. But we saw another player with the Manitoba tuck, not on Manitoba. I forget what team it was, but we were commentating on we don't see a lot of the tuck anymore.
And it worked on that shot. Frozen to the Ontario stone at the back of the 4-foot. He also has a backswing, a pretty big backswing actually.
Okay. And most of it's all no lift delivery now. But there are a few that do lift the rock. And no lift delivery makes it ideal that when you're introducing the young ones into the game. Because the rock weighs about 44 pounds or 42 pounds.
And Terry Lichty will follow him down right to the umbrella. Manitoba with the chance to force Ontario now on this end if they can put something anywhere in the top 4-foot or frozen to that stone. And it all kind of started because of that Ontario stone at the back of the 4-foot early in the end.
They're working this hard, Darren.
Looks like it needs it for weight.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. They took a quick look at it, and now they're right back at it.
Heads down and go, as they say. Looks a really great shot, though. Not quite to the shot rock, but complicates things a little bit for Ontario to get there too.
Yeah, they're shrinking the scoring area.
You had a chance, Dodie, to play in playdowns for Travelers before?
Yes, you mentioned Kingston. we actually lost the provincial final that year.
Sorry I mentioned.
Yes, my team of Ed Pinder and Larry Flanagan and Hewitt Williston and myself, we had to be beaten twice, and we were.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Wayne Obie from Beresford represented the province in Kingston.
What does the Travelers mean to you, the event? How do you see it as the importance of it?
I think it's very important for and I hear the word club curler, but any competitive curler that hasn't got the time to play at the higher level, it's an excellent venue for them to get into. I think it's a beautiful idea that whoever thought of Curl Canada, I know, was involved. Dominion was the first sponsor, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of the players that I've spoken to, have careers where they can't, or family situations they can't step back and play at the elite level. And this allows for it. And it's not necessarily a stepping stone to them. In some cases it is. In some cases some of the teams are going to make a shot at it. I look at Andrew Simmons won this event in Ottawa a few years ago from Newfoundland and Labrador, and he saw it as it was a goal to win Travelers, but he also knew that, if Gushu were to ever win the Brier, which he did twice in a row, that opens up a spot for a men's team to come up behind him.
Yes.
And he's now competing for those, and I'm sure that experience wearing the Newfoundland jacket has helped him in his provincials, and if his team is able to pull through this year or in future years to represent Newfoundland, that it will give him that experience. Nothing compares, as you know, you've been to a Brier, nothing compares to competing at a Brier or a Scotties. But there's things about those events. There's wearing that jacket and your provincial colors in that first game that are nerve-wracking, and that maybe goes a little bit away when you've been at this event before.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's a great event. And
so Andrew Wickman takes his first time out of this game. The team's entitled to 2 timeouts. And he's probably deciding if he wants to go for it, go for that shot rock, or if he wants to find a way to really force Ontario into just the single. Are they looking at if he can pick it? There's a lot of risk involved.
Yeah, there's.
The pick is pretty tough.
I think that Team Ontario is hard pressed to get 2 here.
Yeah, still early in the game, enough that you can.
4-2 is not. Yeah, 4-2 is not the end of the world.
Force take 2, force take 2, and so on.
Yeah, exactly. The danger is opening it all up.
Opening it up, yeah.
You're right about them not having a coach, because he'd be out there now.
Yeah. Time is back in. It's a family affair on this broadcast. You have you helping me out today, and then we have your wife is on the timing.
Yes, yeah.
We have you had a junior hockey team here this week. The Miramichi Timberwolves are helping with timing early in the week.
Yes, the Timberwolves were in doing the timing for I think Tuesday, Wednesday, and I'm not sure about Thursday, but yeah, no, they were a great help to us. So the Timberwolves are. Try to get involved with city activities, and
so Wickman is trying to play the run. Multiple rocks in, pretty close.
It is really close.
1, 2. The good thing is he didn't open it up too much.
No, he did not. No, it's
in fact, he blocked the 1 drop path, but however, if Dupuis can ever hit that red on the top 4 foot, catches back one, that red one's probably not going too far.
No, it's not going to go too far. Okay, he's going to play a draw now, I think, is he? He's looking at playing that raise, but
I think it must be a tap. Pretty tough tap. He
Very
doesn't have a lot of room for error here.
Very difficult shot.
It's pretty much nose in the exact weight. But again, no risk involved on this one for him, really. Saskatchewan picked up 2 points in our other men's quarterfinal, so they have a 3-1 lead on Quebec as they play the 6N. Corey Kohutch looking for his second Travelers Championship. He won in 2014 in Halifax, the only returning champion to this event, men or women.
I think he's got a couple of members from that team also.
Yeah, I believe 3 of the 4. And Matt Dupuis needs really nose on this and the exact weight.
It's got the nose.
Good try, but
very good try.
Very tough shot. He'll be happy to still get the one.
Still get the one.
So 4-2 Ontario leads, with Manitoba with hammer in the even ends as they get ready to play the 6N. As we start the 6N, wanted to also send out, we had some sad news in the curling club world earlier this week. Lucas Prafinovich from Ontario, he was a 2014, I mentioned Corey Kohutch. In that same year, Lucas was a silver medalist for Team Ontario at that event, coming second to Kohutch, and he passed away earlier this week, and Curling Canada wanted to send their condolences out to the family and friends of Lucas. Passed away after a battle with cancer, and our condolences to him, to his family and friends, and everyone at the Cataraqui Curling Club where he curled. Reminds you that it is just a game, and it is a game that has a lot of close bonds, because it was Saskatchewan that came up to me, that team, to let me know earlier this week that had happened, and they still kept in touch with him. I don't think they've seen him over the years,
yeah.
But it it reminds you of how close the curling community is. Back in our game, Ontario asking their lead Charles Wirt to put one top 4.
I just wonder this end now, Darren, if Manitoba will throw up 2 corner guards this end and go all out for their deuce.
Yeah. As we mentioned, the winner of this game will go on to play BC. The loser is eliminated, but there is a bronze medal game for both the men's and women's, as we have podium finishes here on Saturday. Almost put it in the Tim Hortons Cup there.
Yeah.
One of the PEI women I was talking to last night said she really just wanted to get her picture with the Tim Hortons Cup
With Tim Hortons
on the ice. I said, go out and do it. This one's hanging out there,
This
though.
one's hanging out.
Can't remove it. You can move it. Wickman's ready to sweep. If he removes it, it goes back, and it's
going to be removed. Yeah.
Wow, it will go back. So kind of unexpected free guard zone violation there by Ontario.
And it's certainly a gentleman's game or a ladies' game where they just put it back and.
So Wickman will try and use it. It is a very long corner guard.
Yeah, and I think with the finish on this ice, it might be a little too long to. Unless they can just get it top 12 and completely buried.
Yeah, they're going to need a lot of work to get this by, though. Second corner guard, though, is fine.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, we are, as mentioned earlier, playing the 4-rock rule here, so Ontario is allowed to blast any one of these rocks now out. The teams, as I said earlier, qualified under the 4-rock rule, so that continues here.
Yeah, Team Ontario script wasn't long getting up there to
Nope.
make that call to get those guards out of there.
You see the hitting ability here of John King from Cornwall. Got one.
We may have them both, Darren. It's pretty close. Oh, no. Now it's on the cup.
Yeah.
He's a biter on the cup.
Got one out. The Alberta women jumped off to a 6-3 lead now on Manitoba as they picked up a deuce in 5. So a 3-point lead in the 6th end.
That's the only game that's kind of getting a little bit out of control. The rest are still pretty close.
It's been a lot of adversity for that Manitoba team. They had to play a tiebreaker this morning. They lost their skip to illness yesterday for 2 games, dropped both those games. It was a real struggle. So good to see her back. Deb's back on the ice, but I can imagine it's been a real challenge for them. So interesting to see how that finishes. Brent Bazchuk's rock finishes behind the corner guard, so Matt Dupuis will ask his second to just peel off the guard in this 6th end.
I think he'll continue just throwing guards, Darren, for a while before he makes his move.
Yeah. Bazchuk an extra minute there with the rock. I think there was something under it he wanted to clear off. Hasn't been a lot of picks. I was talking to the Nova Scotia men last night, and they were saying that they didn't have too many. There was picks at all this week, and after 6 games, that's pretty good. And a lot of people coming and going into the curling club. Weather conditions bringing in, moisture and other snow and salt into the lounge area, but it really has been pretty pristine conditions, which is great. They keep good control of the field of play, making sure that it's accessible just to the players and umpires, so that there's no opportunity for debris to get out there. The ice makers have done a great job.
Yeah, they've been hard working for sure. Especially when there was 4 draws in one day. As soon as the games ended, they were out there getting ready, and the games were on time all week too. So.
Ontario fans watching this men's game will be happy to see that the women just picked up what looked like a 3-ender over on sheet 2. Bravo there. So if that is correct, they're up to a 5-1 lead in the quarterfinals against Saskatchewan. Wait for that score to go up, though. In our game, it's cat and mouse right now with guards and hits, but Dupuis going for it now. You can see.
You can see most of it, Joe.
Yeah, you're behind the sheet a little better than I am, but it looks like you can see probably edge to edge. Jerry Lichty with a very smooth delivery. Wow.
That was a good break.
I was going to say the right way to miss, but it was the right way to miss and the right result.
Yes.
Yeah. Fist bumps there between Bazchuk and Lichty on opposing teams for that shot. That was a... Yeah.
They couldn't have drawn it up that way, so it's perfect it turned out.
And why that is so good, if you're not as experienced to the game, is that it's now really difficult for Wickman to keep play spread apart to get his 2 points. So even now, if he bails on the idea of throwing guards, he's going to have to deal with the Ontario stone and has to make sure he doesn't choke it off to give himself get at least the 1 point.
Exactly, yeah. And it ended up being Ontario having shot rock now, so he's going to eventually have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And when he
set up the double.
Yeah, when he does, it'll be a double there somewhere.
So it was a 3 for the Ontario women, a 5-1 lead now as they play 7. They have had a couple of games, though, the women's team, where they've given up big leads, so we'll keep an eye on that.
This one looks a little bit heavy.
Darko's shot, though, if he can get it behind buried, it would be great. It's not too bad, though.
No, that's the shot you see a lot on TV now.
Yeah.
Where
Play to the back, use those as guards.
Yeah.
It's something that you don't necessarily think of until someone calls it, and then you know that would actually work really well, especially if you're trailing. Use anything that you can as a guard late in the end, and that's what they did there. Good heads-up move by Wickman.
Yeah, good reaction to a shot.
So Dupuis, I think, is playing off his own to drive that red one out. He could also play the intern, maybe double attempt on the wide side, but if you ever jam it and lose your shooter.
Yeah, I think he's looking to hit that and have a shooter roll over to the left side of the sheets, get some separation.
Dupuis' first rock of this sixth end without hammer here.
And it was a very nice throw. I went directly in behind her, and he was right up the room.
And he'll remove one of them.
Yeah.
Does set up, if I can say, a fairly routine double. But he will probably give Dupuis back another double opportunity if he were to make it. I think they've figured that out, that a double here would just give Dupuis a double back Ontario, so play a hit and roll, make him make something. I think the call is the hit and roll.
Yeah, it was well thought out. I think my first reaction was play the double, but that wouldn't work very well. It would just be a double back and 1 point in play.
Yeah, and you play with your opposition. You play with what you want to play against their strengths, and we've seen Ontario can play either draws or hits, so don't leave them a shot. Make it as hard as possible. And I think Wickman's trying for a hit and roll to do that. Baschuk leaning on the sweep. Does he go across the top of it? Great shot.
Very nice.
That was a very good result by Wickman and a good sweep by Brent Baschuk there to hold the line on it. And now Ontario will be hard-pressed to sit 2 after this.
Do you think if he hits that top red one, the yellow will catch the other red one going through?
It might just tick it.
Yeah.
Certainly no drag. They're too far apart for the drag effect, as it's called, but it might flip it. You look back at the conversation. I don't know if that was a look at the scoreboard too. You're up 2, you give up 2. It's
still tied, and you got hammer back, and find out here, Darren, in a second.
If he's calling the straight pick or the nose hit on the red, and see if it does, as you suggested, Doty maybe clips the back one along the way. You're more behind the sheet, so I'm going to take your word for it.
Okay, thanks.
Looks like the peel was the call.
Yeah, the peel was the call, yeah.
Not sure the sweeper's
That was a well thrown rock there. And he does have a play for two, but it's a pretty tough shot.
Yeah, I think they're going for it. Tarko indicated it. Wickman seemed on board with it. Big shot here for Andrew Wickman in the 6th end to try and get his 2 points, or at least make sure he gets a single. But not a brush to it yet. He needs to curl quite a bit.
He's not light.
It's coming over now. Both of them on the sweep now.
It looks pretty good. Enough weight to push.
Guaranteed the one. Will he get two?
I think so. Oh.
Not quite.
Wow.
Great attempt
Great try
by Andrew Wickman, but it's a single for Manitoba and a 4-3 lead Ontario holds on to as they get ready to play the 7th end. And our neighboring sheet here, a big shot for Quebec. They're facing 4 right now in the 6th end, and they're already down 3-1. And they need to bump a rock back from the button, so keep you updated on what happens there. But it looks like the Skip Martin is awfully close to a single.
Wow.
Awfully close, and if we can describe it as best as possible, he had a cold button draw and needed to get the pin, and they're actually looking at it that it's maybe closer than it looks from even up here, that he may have pulled it off. He at least limited it if it is.
To a steal of one at worst case scenario.
Yeah, so still a somewhat close game if it's only a steal of one for Saskatchewan. Nervous times, though, there on that last one.
That was a great effort.
Yeah. Back to our game, though. It's Manitoba throwing up the center guard and
Ontario going behind.
Shot kind of reminded me of Guy Hemmings in the, I think it was the Ottawa Briar versus Saskatchewan, and actually, which is hilarious because those are the two teams playing in this game, and it was Guy that put it no backing side of the button to win the game, and I think it was the semifinals.
Yes,
so
it was. I remember watching that game on TV.
Bit of a throwback Friday to the same provinces playing off here. Not quite the same amount on the line, but for these guys, it feels like it. The umpire in that sheet now struggling to find the pin with the measuring device. So the Ontario stone slips to the back of the 4-foot in our game, and that we saw an earlier end where that happened, and it resulted in a force. Manitoba was able to force Ontario, so we'll see what plays out here, and that's certainly what they want to do, but they love to steal too, or steal as well to make it close for Manitoba. Wickman and his team having a laugh at something.
Yeah, they're having a good time out there.
They are. They're a really close group of guys, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Andrew described them as 4 the same guys out there, like same dry sense of humor and same personality. And
he's calling out the center guard, so he's going to go all out this end to force or steal. Kind of half watching the measure on the sheet. There's quite a gathering around. The officials trying to get it's really, really close to the pin.
Yeah, Kay, one of the umpires from Curling Canada, is trying to make it work, but Charles Wirt from Ontario is looking to put this one in front of the tee line this time.
It looks like it's a little heavy again, Darren.
Pretty big chance now for Manitoba to maybe even set something up for a steal here. And it was Thank you to Cam Barth's father sitting beside me to tell me that it was red beside us here in the Saskatchewan game. So that draw against, what was it, 5?
Yes, yeah, 4 or 5, yeah.
4 or 5. It limited them at least. Quebec limited Saskatchewan to just the 1, but that opens the game up for 4-1 lead Saskatchewan over Quebec.
Yeah, that shot at least keeps them in the game and having a chance.
Brent Baschuk is looking to lock one down there. And they are by the guards.
Yeah, the line's really good.
Beautiful shot by Baschuk.
Yeah.
Slips behind the tee, but not going anywhere soon, at least.
Yeah, she's pretty solid in there, Darren.
Missed the first one, and he will.
Well, I guess the good news, he freed up the rock so they can get at it.
Yeah, that's the good news. The bad news is there's 2 Ontario guards, and Wickman is going right in with his next one. This is where either team nerves can be a factor, right? You see the finish line, especially Ontario, who's had control of this game, or at least it's been even for the most part. But you can get, as a player, you can start seeing things that you don't want to be seeing until an hour from now.
Yeah, the finish line.
Yeah, but you have to think that Manitoba being in this game in the past, if there are any nerves or if there is that factor, that they would be able to control that in their case.
Yeah, exactly. We have our first final there on ice B.
We do, and Ontario closed it out 7-1 over Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan had played through the tiebreaker this morning, and that will end their Travelers Championship for the team. And Ontario, from the Oshawa Curling Club, will move on to the semifinals in the women's play, and they will play Nova Scotia. And that game comes at us at 6:30 tonight in the semifinal. John King makes his peel on this one, gets rid of one of the long guards.
I think Ontario will be peeling guards the rest of this end and hoping to have. They actually do still have the in-turn draw for their point. The out-turn's pretty well blocked down on them. That might overcurl a little bit, Darren. I think they can see enough of the red rock in the 8-foot to make a pass at it.
You saw Matt indicate originally maybe for the freeze, and then as it just took a last spin there, I think it was the front end down here that pointed out. So they're going back to the freeze.
Going back to the freeze.
Yeah. If you ever just clip the guard on that attempt in there, and then you want to make sure you have something, but this is going for it at this point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If this slips deep or comes up short, then it's pretty big trouble for Ontario. And this is needs a sweep to get there.
Yeah, the line's good.
We out to help the Ontario team. They'll get it there for second shot.
Second shot, yeah.
But it is about a quarter buried. And suddenly you can kind of feel the momentum shifting now to Manitoba. They're down 1 without Hammer, but a steal here would tie things up if they're able to pull that out in the 7th. 8 ends in these championships, as we mentioned earlier, and of course go to an extra end if there is a tie after 8.
Manitoba's going to try to shut that in turn down now, so they can't tap that yellow and rock at a later time.
You wonder if that double they were looking at is still there, because if it is, Ontario would be sitting 2 if it is there, but it's, again, just as risky to try it. And it looks like he's...
that one over curled on them, I believe, and they can play the same, just tap the yellow or straight draw like that to the pin.
As long as you're putting them as long as Ontario is putting them in front of the tee line and in the house, you're in okay spot. You're only your second shot if you're Ontario, and you don't want to go deep on this. You don't want to be too light. This is out there.
It's out there quite a piece.
The cup for now. Is it heavy too?
I think they give a little brush. Now they're standing straight up, so it looks like they're probably going to slide past the tee line.
Oh boy. Not
Just
where they wanted to put that though, that's for sure.
And Manitoba's taking their timeout.
Timeout called by Manitoba here. I believe this is their second time.
I think it is, Darren, yeah. I think we commented earlier that they didn't have a coach, and that was proof in the first time out.
What would you do here, Dodie?
I think I'd try to get in to be number 2. I think I'd get a little greedy and try to steal the 2-ender.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think tied without Hammer coming home is not quite the same as 1 up without. And you have that chance.
Oh, they could just block that off and with their last shot use the out turn, tap the red one to the 4-foot.
And I think the original shot that Dupuis had looked at over on the right side there, it's complicated now because you have that yellow one at the back, and it's even more risky for Ontario to ever try that. So that ice looks like guard ice to me, but middle of the 12-foot.
Yeah, I think he's decided.
If you put one right on the umbrella there, get it, even just tuck a piece of it, you're sitting pretty good. But a lot of respect for Dupuis' ability to hit and get himself out of trouble here. I think they're going with the guard. They don't want to bring a red one in and risk a double of any sort anywhere.
They're using the timeout. They give it a lot of thought to all these shots, so this is the one they like the best.
You have a lot of room for error here. A lot of places you can put it.
Yes,
blocks the guard or the draw path for him. And that does it. Pretty tough. Might still be able to get there, but pretty tough to get around that to get a piece of the button.
Ontario's calling their first time out.
Time shouldn't be a factor for either of the teams. Manitoba with just under 8 minutes left, and Ontario with just under 9 minutes left. Be fine for time.
They should be, yeah.
It is for a lot of teams one of the first events they will have played on time clocks. So the first part of the week, you get the sense of some teams don't know where they should be with the time. You know, your third end and wondering, are we way behind? Like, should we be at this moment? So it can be a bit of a distraction for teams that don't usually play under time clocks. I'm pretty sure Ontario and their provincial championships played under time clocks. When you did your Travelers for New Brunswick, were there time clocks for it?
No, I think we just had the old method of 2 hour, an hour and 50 minutes. And
I believe Curling Ontario had it set up, which is a good practice for people to get used to it, because it is it's not meant as a distraction, but it can be. For
yes, yeah.
Certainly in club play, we all know the teams that can be a little bit slower.
Slower, yeah.
Yeah, and so it really can gnaw away at you if you are a slower team.
Yeah, my daughter Kendra plays on a competitive team in the province, and they designate. I think she's the clock keeper type of thing. She's always watching the clock for the team, so they don't have to worry about it. And those teams are always in the hack, ready to throw too. They don't waste any time.
Yeah. Rachel Holman's team last year at the trials played an end in 1 minute and 20 seconds left of the 10th end at the trials against Julie Tippin. That was
wow.
Someone that was there with them. It was a nerve-wracking 1 minute and 20 seconds, but they pulled it off.
Yeah. No timeouts, or?
No, I don't believe there's a timeout left, but Kevin Cooey pulled off one earlier this year in an event where he had 3 seconds left and made an amazing shot with 3 seconds left on the clock to cross the back line. But we saw someone earlier this week on the women's side. They actually did run out of time, but the shot really wasn't there. They missed the shot as well, so it didn't become a factor. And it was if she had made the shot, it would have been unfortunate because it wouldn't have counted.
It wouldn't have counted, yeah.
So you hate to see that. But. So here it looks like Dupuis is trying to come through that hole.
I'm not sure, Darren. He's playing something soft, I guess. So maybe try to
wiggle through the hole
and bounce the yellow one up. It's not curling.
He's fully on the red right now.
Yeah, it's trying though. It's trying.
Really getting over
It's
there.
really trying.
He's by now.
Yeah.
Enough weight to bump it. Enough weight to make it third shot.
Yeah. They had to wait so long on the line, they couldn't sweep it.
I noticed with this duo of Tarko and Wickman that Jeff often is one of the first to indicate the shots, and then Wickman kind of stands back and watches.
Takes a look,
Yeah. It strikes me as a different demeanor between the two, but that works very well in a lot of teams, is to have someone that's more of the stand back or step back and watch the shot and decide. And ultimately he is throwing, and it looks like he is going right around, or trying to go right around the red one. And this will be Manitoba's final stone, but Ontario with hammer in the 7th end.
He's out there quite a piece.
Not seen anything this far out, so it will be interesting to see if it comes back. Not moving at all yet. Do not want to set up a double here. You got to go either deep or high, and it looks like they can go deep, which is a good way to miss it.
Yeah, get it out of the way for sure.
When it was hanging out there, it was not looking pretty, but no harm, no foul, really. It's not.
I think that shot was there, Darren, because I'm looking at it. It's in the back 12-foot, and it's almost completely behind the red rock out in the top 12. So
now this is okay. I thought they were lining up the red end to pick it out, but okay. Would have thought if they had a coach, they would have called timeout for that. He was doing that, but no. I think they were just adjusting the broom for what he played previously to the same shot. He's going to move 2 rocks this time.
Yeah, he needs a little bit more weight this time. Yeah,
so pretty tough to make this, but
because his last one just did get off that red guard.
He had some room on the high guard, though, I think, right? On that
yes, the high guard wasn't an issue. It was just that the one that's in the 12-foot was the issue. And
so tighten up the ice a little bit. It's a double tap. Needs a piece of the button to get the single in this 7th end, or else we will be heading to a tie again. Matt Dupuis' final rock.
There's an early sweep on it.
That's diving towards the guard. And that will not make it. So Manitoba picks up another point, and it's a steal, and we have a tie game coming home in the 8th end here of the Travelers Curling Club Championship, Ontario and Manitoba. The winner of this game goes on to tonight's semifinal.
It's going to be a good finish.
It is.
Yeah.
Manitoba has to be really happy with that end. They, again, those lead rocks slipped to the back 4-foot, allowed them to get there and capitalize on it, but I think Ontario may have been happy that they didn't give up 2 in that end, too. There was a couple chances for Manitoba to hook one in there.
Well, Ontario's probably will be happy with the fact that they have the hammer in the last end. So, and that's all you really, when you're out here playing, you hope to have the hammer in the last end.
Yeah, I think if you're have your choice. You'd rather be in Ontario's shoes right now, even having given up that steal.
Well, the free guard zone has certainly added entertainment to the curling game from the old days of going up and down the sheet.
Invented here in New Brunswick, correct?
Yeah, there was the 3-rock rule in Moncton.
Moncton rule.
Yeah, when Russ Howard arrived in the province, or he might not have been in the province then, but there was.
And this shot certainly not invented by her, but it's now known as the Weagle. Not quite for Ontario.
Yeah, she's fantastic at that. They had an interesting rule on the Grand Slam events. If it was on the center line, you couldn't take it.
And it certainly was, came to kind of it had been around, the tick shot had certainly been around, but that it was that 2013 Scotties in Kingston where the Holman team really brought it to the forefront and made dozens and dozens in games.
And I think this one's going to touch the guard. Yeah, the Holman team were playing ticks and ends 4, 6, or 7. Didn't matter what end it was.
But Dupuis now is going to have to decide if he wants to try that again. It looks like he is. There's a great tick there.
Beautiful.
Moves his own.
That was well thought out. He knew he could hit a little harder. If he hits the other one, the other red rock would hang around.
Yeah. They still seem pretty loose out there. Whitman and Dupuis having a little chat between shots.
It's really it's nice to see. Yeah. It's like the.
So now the peeling game is on for Ontario. Again, this is the 4-rock rule, and this will be all important for them to make sure they make their peels if they want to give Matt a shot at the end of this with hammer. John King, first one here. Could get more than one. Oh, very close to making it. Quebec came back with 2 points in the 7th end, so it's a 4-3 game right now on that sheet. Saskatchewan has hammer.
That draw that Quebec made in N6 is looming big now. Having a chance
to win it for sure.
Yeah.
And we still have a women's quarterfinal happening. Manitoba, Alberta. Waiting for the score to be hung, but looks like Alberta got a single in that women's game. And in our game, Brent Bastrik's being asked to throw another guard. I want to avoid setting up any sort of easy double peel. You'll probably set something up and make it as difficult as possible for Ontario. It's not bad.
It seems like a pretty good spot.
Yeah, still gonna. Yeah, he's not even gonna try that because that's the problem rock right now.
Yeah, he just wants a clear shot at the 4-foot with his last one.
To update you, it's a 7-4 lead for Alberta on Manitoba in the women's game right now, and they're throwing them through for Alberta to start the end for that. John King trying to make his second peel of the end. pretty good.
Yeah. He's got the straight peel.
It's a great feeling, 8th end of a game as a second, when you make both your peels and know you only have sweeping left to do.
Yeah, exactly. Your job is done.
Yeah. And in a tie game, it's often done. You don't usually
yeah, you don't usually see any
an extra end.
Extra ends. I guess Wickman will always have a draw on that one corner guard that would probably be able to bite the 4-foot.
Yep. Good shot.
Yeah, there's no double peel again unless he would never hit the corner guard. He wants to keep the center open, so.
It's also interesting too. We talked about the second and the feeling of it being your job being done, but I always felt as a skip too, you're thinking, I'm giving the you're not challenged necessarily by strategy, and you don't want to get too far ahead and start thinking about what you have to do because it could change. You could have an open hit, or you could have to draw.
Yeah.
So you got to stay focused in this situation. But they seem pretty loose, as we mentioned, both teams.
Yeah, no, they're both still smiling, so. He's very contentious with the single peel. These are two very good teams.
Mm-hmm. The men's event's very strong here this year. Look out, though. Any thinner, that would have hit the red one thicker and in. So.
Yeah, it would have rolled in.
That's the thing with sometimes making or calling and making those tick shots is they make the peels sometimes a little bit more challenging because you have to watch out for that catcher.
Exactly. I see Rickman's going to go in now, Darren, and try to bite the side of the 4-foot. I don't think he has any choice. He has to make a move here, I think.
Yeah.
This one's curling pretty good.
Tease Ontario a little bit with that, but looks like he's just going to call the run back. Which turn is the question that works. Play the out turn at it. If it comes up, maybe you can make the double, but I don't know if you really want to chance it too much. Just make the guard go away. You'll have an open hit, and presumably on your last one.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't want to cross that a little bit and roll to the center line.
But it is something that if he just makes the peel, Wickman, you can use that one he just threw as a in-house guard almost.
Yes,
He draws,
exactly. Yeah.
You know, back forefoot. So Matt Dupuy's first stone of this 8th end of the quarterfinal.
Oh, he's good.
Makes the peel. Rolls out. So they'll go T-line around the one he just threw.
I think he's just playing a straight draw, I believe, isn't he?
Yeah, they indicated T-line. Could even come back 4. I mean, you're not going to give too much of a difference. I don't know. If you go back 4, he's probably going to draw, but
yeah,
we'll see. Don't really want to rub off the guard, or off the one at the top of the 4, or top of the 8 foot, I should say. Sweeping to get it by, though.
He should be by. It looks like he's by.
Oh, it's really sliding or slowing down in the slide path. Wow, that looks okay. I think it grabbed in the slide path because it didn't look that light.
No.
I can see Terry Lichty cleaning the path of that rock as he goes back to sweep for Ontario. It really just dug in at about the Travelers logo into the hog line.
I noticed that John King, the Ontario second, he followed that rock down just to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they have a draw, and that might be in Dupuy's mind, is that we just saw one really dig in.
Yeah, he's out in. I think he's out in the good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't recall seeing a draw down here though. Too much. Final stone, Matt Dupuy of Ontario needs a piece of the 8 foot to advance his Cornwall Curling Club team to the semifinal.
It's not curling yet.
And it did look heavy out of his hand, but it's coming in there nicely. Yeah. And Ontario will pick up the win of the quarterfinal, and the Cornwall Curling Center's team from the Cornwall Curling Center, Matt Dupuy, Terry Lichty, John King, and Charles Wirt will advance to the semifinal to take on undefeated British Columbia here in Miramichi, and Andrew Wickman's Fort Rouge Curling Club team from Manitoba will bow out at this year's championship. On the sheet beside us here, we have a few rocks left to go between Saskatchewan and Quebec in the men's quarterfinal. It's tightened up this game after a steal of 1 for Saskatchewan in the 6th end. It's 4-3 now.
So we'll stay with this one then, Darren, and finish this one off. And
handshakes in the neighboring women's game, the quarterfinal, as Calgary Curling Club's Morgan Muse advances over Manitoba.